So this is a very basic introduction of the QSONO Q6. I'm going to go through the keyboard and show you some of the features and how to use the unit. So the very first thing we usually do is hit the new patient button, and that'll give us the option to add new patient details into the unit. So put in as much or as little information as you want to create a new patient, and that way you'll be able to save all of your exams and all of your images and videos to the patient file. So top left corner of the screen you'll see the patient name, their ID, and you'll also see exam information, date, time and all that type of stuff as well. So to begin with, once you've set your patient up, you can hit your probe button and you'll have the option of selecting your probe exam. So for example, we can choose the abdominal setting here, which is quite good for transverse abdominus and transabdominal pelvic floor as well. So it's come with some presets. The frequency we've set for abdominal so that it's useful for transverse abdominus or pelvic floor. You can change these features here, frequency, enhance mode, persistence, etc., with the two little arrows just underneath each of the menu options on the screen here. So for example, change the frequency up and down using these arrows here. Just to the left is the time gain compensation. That's going to adjust the brightness at the particular level of the screen that they correlate to. So the top ones will do the top of the screen and the lower ones will change the brightness at the lower end of the screen. If you want to change your overall brightness, you can do it with this knob here with a B on it. Or this knob down here, which is a general menu knob. Other options that you have across here are an arrow for pointing things out to the patient. You also have a clear marker, a zoom button, an exporting function for a report, and a body marker so you can show where your probe was on the patient. Moving across to these knobs here, unless you have color Doppler enabled, the C knob and the D/M knob won't, and also the steer knob won't be functional. However, your B here gives you normal imaging and brightness, and your depth knob lets you zoom in or zoom out for depth, changing it for more superficial or for deeper structures. Across the trackball will give you a cursor. You have a enter arrow here and here, and you also have a measurement button here which will bring up a menu for all sorts of different measurements. You can do three-dimensional volume, you can do distance, you can trace an area. Let's just do a distance. So pressing here once, moving the trackball to the next spot and pressing again, and that'll give you a distance down the bottom here. Now if you want to save an image, you just hit this little picture icon down the bottom here, and that'll save an image. It'll give you a thumbnail on your patient file here. That's our image down the bottom there. So to exit from the measurement menu, we just hit measure again and we go back to our normal imaging. Some other modes that we have M mode for looking at a B mode image with movement over time. So if I was imaging here at the moment, you'd be able to see changes over time down the bottom there. To get out of M mode, you just click on B and that'll take you back to normal imaging. THI will enable tissue harmonic imaging, and you can tell if that's on or off up on the left hand side of the screen here. Usually tissue harmonic imaging will give you a nicer, clearer image than having it disabled. Power Doppler and tissue Doppler won't be enabled unless those functions have been purchased as an option with the unit as well. This button here will give you a split screen mode, so you can compare a relaxed state to a contracted state, for example. And you can also do 4 screens, top left here. Each time you press it, you'll get your different screen option up. If you press it again, you'll go back to the first one. And if you want to freeze, you just hit the snowflake button down the bottom here. And again, like any time, if you want to go back to your normal imaging, you hit B, and that'll take you back to your normal B mode imaging. If you have a printer connected, you can hit print here. It'll tell us that there's no printer connected, but if you did have one, that would print the screen for you. If you want to save the image, we've already done this, but let's get out of this. This is our print menu. If you want to save the image, you can hit this button here, which we've already done, and if you want to save a video, you hit freeze. The machine will constantly be recording and saving to its temporary memory a certain number of frames. You can hit video, it will bring up your cursor, and you can either click down here to save your cine loop, or you can click here to play it back at either quarter speed, half speed, normal speed, or double or triple speed. Okay. Now I've also saved for your units example images so that you can see them. To get to them, we'll hit the patient list to get to our archive. Down the bottom right here you'll see a tab that says patient list. We'll click on that, and that's going to have some stored exams in there for us. So the ones that we're interested in were from today. Here we've saved a couple of images of transverse abdominus, and you'll be able to see as well that they're labelled for what they are. So we've got TA with an arrow down here, internal oblique and external. A couple of other things with the Q6 unit. It can run on mains power, but it also has a battery that should last about 2 hours when it's off power. So also on the side you have S-video out if you want to put the image up onto a bigger screen, and HDMI out for the same reason. We've got 2 USB ports, so you can either plug in some USB external storage if you want to save your images to USB, or you could plug in some peripheral devices like an extra mouse or keyboard if you wanted to be able to operate the unit from a little bit further away. So you can see at the moment it's just working off the internal battery there. The other thing, at the back of the unit you have your probe connectors. It's best to take them in and out when the unit's turned off. So I'll switch the unit off and just show you how to do that quickly. The unit shuts down very quickly. Turn it over. If you do really need to change your probes when the unit's still going, it's best if you freeze the image first. So a little clip in here, flick that across, and then it just comes straight out. And exactly the same on the way back in. Pop the unit in there and then slide the clip into the lock-in position and feed the cord through here.